Hello everyone, welcome to Motivational Medicos. My name is Pulkit Gupta and in this video we are going to talk about the parasympathetics drugs. So basically in our previous video we have already discussed about the parasympathetic nervous system, about the parasympathomimetic drugs. So in this we are continuing with the parasympatholitic drugs. So without wasting time, let's get started. So lytics I have already told you. Lytics means breakdown. Basically they are anticholinergic drugs. They are anti cholinergic. They are anticholinergic drugs which are going to work like basically they will going to be responsible for the decrease in acetylcholine. So whatever we'll going to study, they will going to decrease acetylcholine, that will less stimulate the receptors, the muscarinic and the nicotinic receptors, so they will have opposite effect. So the first one, the M1 function where M1 functions, as you know, they function in the stomach. They are present in the stomach. And what they do? They increase the HCl secretion. So if we, basically, if we block this M1, what will happen? There will be decrease in HCl secretion. So when we want decrease in HCl secretion, we want decrease in HCl secretion in case of peptic ulcer. As you know, in peptic ulcer there is increased acidity, or you can say acid secretion. So we want to decrease it, so that's why we give M1 blocker. So the name of the drugs involved is there are two drugs, that is pyrazipine and talenzipine. So basically the first one, the M1 is present in the stomach, which is responsible for increase in acid secretion, the HCl secretion. So if we block the M1, then it will decrease the HCl secretion. So we use this in peptic ulcer. The two drugs are the pyrazipine and the talenzipine. This is our first. Now let's talk about second. Means let's block this M2. Where M2 is present? It is present in heart. So what it do in heart? It is responsible for the decrease in heart rate. So if we block this M1, what will happen? If we block this M1, it will lead to increase in heart rate. So when we want to increase the heart rate when it is already low, so in case of bradycardia and the case of AV block. So the drugs which we will give in this case is the name of drug is atropine. Atropine, as you all know, is a muscarinic blocker. So what we give atropine as a drug of choice in case of if we want to block M2. It will basically increase the heart rate, causing tachycardia in case of where there is bradycardia and AV block. Now the third case which we need to study is the third case when now after third the M3. As you know, M3 is present in all other organs. So first of all, M3. So M3, let's start first in M3. Let's first study in the bronchus. So in bronchus, what happened? That we need to understand. As you know, in bronchus basically responsible for the bronchoconstriction. So if we block this M3, what will happen? It will lead to bronchodilation. And when we want this bronchodilation, in case of asthma and COPD, that is chronic obstructive pulmonary lung disease. In that case we need these basically drugs. So the name of the drugs are the ipratropium and similarly like ipratropium, tiotropium. tiotropium. Ipratropium and the tiotropium. These two drugs are used in if you want in the case of asthma and the COPD. Now the second case, let's see the second case. Now after bronchus, let's see in the bladder, in our bladder. So what happen? What M3 receptors in bladder do? They are responsible for the what? For the contraction of the bladder. So if there will be, so they are responsible for the contraction. So if M3 gets blocked, what will happen? There will be a relaxation. There will be relaxation of the bladder, and if the bladder is relaxed, so we want the relaxation. So when we want this condition, in case when there is overactive, when there is overactive bladder, when there is extreme contraction in the bladder, which is responsible for overflow in the urine. So we want to relax the bladder. So there will be in the overactive bladder, or in, you can say, in the detrusor instability, because detrusor is a muscle which is responsible for the contraction. Or you can say, or in the case of urinary incontinence, when urine level, when urine outflow it occur in the continuous manner, it is not stopping, incontinence. So which drugs we will give? So basically, see, this is very interesting set of drugs. So relaxation means we are doing the relaxation of the bladder. Relaxation means we are making the bladder soft. So you can remember the drugs by mnemonic soft bladder. So this is a mnemonic to remember all the drugs which are responsible for the relaxation of the bladder. Let's see their names now. It is solifenacin. From O it is oxybutinin, and from F it is flavoxate. From T it is tolterodine, and from bladder, that is, it is derifenacin. So these are the drugs which you can remember very easily by just remembering a new one, that is soft bladder, that is solifenacin, oxybutinin, flavoxate, tolterodine, and bladder, derifenacin. So these all are the drugs which are responsible for the relaxation of the bladder. Now after the relaxation, after the urinary bladder, let's see the third one is about the secretions. You can say about the gland secretion, other glands which are responsible for the secretion. So basically it is responsible for the increased secretion. So if we block M3, they will be responsible for the decreased secretion. So when we want this decreased secretion, this condition is required in the case of pre-anesthetic patients. Usually what happened, before giving the anesthesia, we give these drugs so that we stop the secretion of the mucus, so that they will not cause any obstruction. So that's why we give these pre-anesthetic medicine, and the drug involved in this case is glycopyrrolate, or we can give atropine. So these two drugs are given in the secretion also. Now after the secretion, which we need to understand is about the smooth muscles. So in the smooth muscles, you also know what parasympathetic system do. It is responsible for its contraction. So we want relaxation. If we give the blocker, it will lead to relaxation of the smooth muscles. So when we want to relax the smooth muscles, we want this in case of colicky pain. Basically your kidney pain, your bladder, in the ureter or in the bile duct, in your colon, if there's a there is a pain occur, when there is a renal stone or with bile stones. These are responsible for the pain because the lumen gets contracted near this stone deposition, so that's causing the pain. So we want the relaxation of their muscles. For that, the drugs which we give, you need to remember them. And the main drug is hyoscine. You can remember hyoscine. And the other drugs are, you can remember, oxybutynin is also given in this case, and one more drug, that is dicyclomine. These three drugs you can remember in the smooth muscles, for the relaxation of smooth muscle: hyoscine, oxybutynin, and dicyclomine. After this, we'll see the fifth one is in the eye. In the eye, what parasympathetic system do? It constriction of pupil occur. Basically, we call it meiosis. But if we give the blocker, it will lead to dilation, means mydriasis. When we want to dilate the pupil, do you know that? Yes, you know that. In case of fundoscopy, and also in your eye testing. In case of eye testing also, which we call refractive testing. At that time, what we want to dilate the pupil so that we can see in the whole, you can see in the whole frame of the retina, to test that. So we give the drugs. The main drugs in which we give in this condition is the atropine, as well as there's one more drug, that is tropicamide. Actually, what happened when we give these drugs, they are also responsible for cycloplegia. Means cyclo means ciliary muscle, and plegia means paralysis. There occur a paralysis in ciliary muscle, due to which there is a blood vision, and this blood vision, so basically this atropine is long acting, so this causing blood vision for long time. That's why we give tropicamide. This is short acting drug. But in the children's, we can give long acting drug also. So we give atropine in them also sometimes, but main drug is tropicamide. After this, there also present M3 is present in the CNS. So basically, if we want to, we give this blocker for what? To depress the CNS. So when we want to depress the CNS, in case of patient, in criminals, where we want them to like a detector, basically, or you can see in the necroanalysis. So that's why in that condition we give this. Basically nowadays we use basically polygraph test to test the criminal, or basically lie detector, but we can give this drug also, and the drug is hyoscine. It is hyoscine, and hyoscine is also used in case of motion sickness. You can remember this also. It given motion sickness. Basically, when we travel, so there are some people who used to have vomiting at the time of when we travel somewhere. So basically, we can give hyoscine to that patient. That will prevent the vomiting. Basically, how this occur? It depresses the vestibular system. It depresses the vestibular system, which is responsible for the vomiting center. So it will depress that thing, so it will be able to prevent the vomiting. So last not least, one more place where this M3 is present, in case of poisoning. So in case of organophosphate, and carbamate poisoning, you know which drug we give. We have already studied this atropine. Atropine is one of the famous drug. We give atropine, which is act as a drug of choice for the organophosphate and carbamate poisoning. So that's it about the parasympathetic drugs. So we have completed now the parasympathetic system. In our further videos, we will cover the sympathetic system, in which we also study the sympathetomimetics and sympathetolytic drugs. So that's it for this video. If you like it, please like, share, subscribe, and guys, don't forget to press the bell icon. That's it.